universities are supposed to teach us things. And when I have 3 kids, another is on the way, when we sit down to teach them A, B, and C, there's an assumption these symbols have meaning and value.
Yeah.
No, I don't go back. I just you just need to learn this right now.
Yeah.
Right. Universities are supposed to be doing that, and yet they're not.
But there's an added problem. I don't mean to just complain about the kids at the schools today. I wasn't so long ago that I was in school and I was doing all sorts of naughty things that I shouldn't have done.
Sure.
And that's been true of university students for a long time. But there are degrees here, okay? And today, I'll just use my own alma mater as an example. When I was there, this was now a dozen years ago, alcohol was treated as a non-disciplinary issue. It was a health issue, but non-disciplinary. So you could go out, you could get belligerently drunk, binge drink, end up in the hospital multiple times. You wouldn't really, you would be counseled or something, but you wouldn't be punished. You wouldn't be reprimanded. I certainly don't think that universities should be encouraging binge drinking. And what follows from that? Promiscuity. I mean, for goodness sakes, Yale, not to beat up too much on dear old Yale had something called Sex Week at Yale, where they would bring porn stars to campus to give lectures promoting pornography and all sorts of disorder and obscenity. And so the reason this is a problem, not just that we can all clutch our pearls here and talk about how terrible it is.
Yeah.
The reason this is a problem is that it not only imperils people's souls, but it actually undermines the academic endeavor. It actually undermines university education. And the reason for that is education is to form the whole person. We're not just floating minds. We're composites of body and soul. And sin darkens the intellect.
Right.
So in order to really think, in order to really have all the pistons firing in your mind, you need to practice certain habits of virtue. You need to get enough sleep, for one. You're not going to do well on the exam if you don't sleep. You need to be in relatively decent physical shape, just so you're not distracted by a chronic pain or something like that. You need to not be racked by lust, because if you're sitting in the room and you got the cute girl over here, you're not going to be able to pay attention to your exam. You're going to be looking at the girl. You need to not be racked by wrath and let your passions run away with you, away from your reason. You need, in other words, to cultivate virtue. And so even the topic that we're going to be discussing tonight, for all of the ornaments on it, is really virtue ethics.
Yeah.
This notion that today, I think a lot of people believe the ends justify the means, and we can live dual lives, and we can be nasty and rotten and terrible, but we can come out to good ends, anyway.
Right.
And that doesn't really work. You know the tree by its fruit, and a bad tree doesn't produce good fruit, and a good tree doesn't produce bad fruit. So the schools, when they were inculcating at least a reasonable degree of virtue, not only were the students better set up to have good lives, they were smarter too. They actually knew more. And now you look at students graduating, and they are really lost. They don't think really to get married. They don't really plan to have children. Our birth rate's collapsing. Our marriage rates are collapsing. They don't really know what to do. They don't have any practical skills. And that's usually where conservatives leave the complaint. They say kids are graduating college without any useful skills. My problem is they're not even graduating with useless skills.
Yeah.
I think liberal education is specifically for useless skills that develop your culture, that may help you to make sense of your freedom, that allow you to think in abstract ways not directly applicable to a job. If you're not even getting that, then what's the point? You're basically just training to become more and more degenerate and confused, and you're paying $1 million to do it.
Yeah, no, I fully agree. Even at Liberty University, we have a code of ethics, obviously. So the law is 21, drinking age. We enforce that. But the other thing is just the standard. A Christian academic institution, yes, there's a moral, ethical, spiritual code that's being enforced, and there are all kinds of things that are detrimental to your physical health, your spiritual health, emotional well-being. People will pursue these things, but they're not mutually exclusive.
Yeah.
And so, yes, eventually, it does take a toll on your ability to learn. Hey, did you find this helpful? I hope you did. Please like and subscribe, share with a friend, and also go to standingforfreedom.com, where you can find more content, articles, podcasts, and our Theology of Politics series, all at standingforfreedom.com.